In episode 7, now that the contingent of Waystar is back, and it looks like the DOJ is loosening their grip, they want to make their big acquisition. It's a company called Gojo. It's going to help their streaming platform not suck. It's an idea that Roman had, but also one that Ken had and Shiv had. It's kind of the obvious acquisition. But Shiv and Roman are completely stressed out. They've worked all night on their pitch to the Gojo people to buy the company. And now is the day where they actually have to make that pitch. Tom has to stop the infighting and let them know that they did good work. Now it's just time to execute. As they make their way to the boardroom, they start talking about the fact that it's Ken's birthday party that night and whether either of them are going to go. The answer to that is probably not, because things aren't great with Ken at the moment. Shiv then concedes the fact that it appears Logan is in fact having sex with his assistant who's 50 years younger than him, which to her is creepy, to Roman is awesome. But then they enter the boardroom and they're handed champagne, and they wonder if the deal's already done without them. They find out, no, the Gojo deal isn't done, but they're celebrating because of the fact that Jerry got word that nobody is going to be going to prison, including Tom. The DOJ looked at the books, looked at the way that Waystar was being cooperative, and realized that while it was a few bad apples years ago, there wasn't a systematic problem going on. Everything Ken said was kind of overblown. When Tom gets the news, he quietly excuses himself from the room. He goes to that closet and office that Greg has, gives him the news, and then flips the table and yells as loud as he can in excitement over the fact that he's not going to jail. I mean, he kind of destroys Greg's office. By the time that Tom walks back into the boardroom, they're supposed to be meeting with Gojo, mainly Gojo's CEO, Lucas Matson. But Matson didn't show. He sent his CFO and a whole team of people, but the fact that he didn't send himself sends Logan off the deep end. He takes it as a complete insult over the fact that he won't even meet with Logan. So Logan calls the deal off. And one of the things that pisses Logan off is the fact that he knows that Matson is going to Ken's party later that night. So the fact that he's meeting with Judas but he won't meet with Logan really irks the hell out of him. Shiv and Roman, though, don't want to just axe the deal because of this. It's petty. They know the importance of getting Gojo for their platform. They don't want to be a dying media brand. Gojo helps them avoid this. But Logan's having trouble seeing the forest through the trees. He tells both Roman and Shiv, "We don't need Gojo. I had Frank reach out to Nan about Pierce again." And Shiv kind of knows that that's a road that's going to lead to nowhere. When Jerry, Frank, and Carl leave the room, Shiv and Roman continue to plead with their dad to at the very least not kill the deal, let them talk to the underlings, but Logan is steadfast that he won't do business with Matson like this. At one point, Logan says, "Hey, Carrie, what was that thing you said about Matson?" And Carrie says, "He thinks he's a genius. He's made one good piece of tech. Fuck him." And Shiv is disgusted about the fact that her father is actually listening to Carrie, and lets Carrie know that while they appreciate her input, it's not exactly good tactics at the moment. They eventually are able to convince Logan, though, to let them go to Ken's party and talk to Matson there. Try to convince him that this is a good deal. Right before Roman leaves the room, Logan hands Roman a card for Ken for his birthday. So everybody heads off that night to Kenapalooza, or whatever douchey name that Ken is calling it. And all of the Roy kids are there, including Connor. He's sporting a coat and an injured arm because he got good polling news and he started dancing and slipped and fell. And he won't take his coat off, which is a problem because when you enter the place, they're supposed to take your phone and your coat, which none of the Roy kids abide to. They then enter the party and see what a complete douche fest it is. I mean, it is extremely cringeworthy. One person that's there that doesn't care how douchey it is, they just want a party, is Tom, who's in a great mood. He sees Greg and they greet each other by their names, saying, "Hello, my name's Greg and I'm not going to jail. Hi, I'm Tom and I'm also not going to jail." Both those guys are ready to party it up. Tom's wife, on the other hand, is with Roman. Shiv and Roman have a mission. They're not there to party. They're there to meet with Matson and get a deal done. That's really it. But they do at least want to say hi to their brother. They find him in VIP, and if things aren't douchey enough on the party scene, Ken is sporting a bedazzled jacket of the 1980s band Boston, although he doesn't really seem to know it. Here, I'll put a side-by-side of the jacket and the album cover so you can see the similarities. It's kind of uncanny. Ken is hanging out with Naomi when he sees his brother and sister walk in, and immediately they start kind of trading insults back and forth, but in a playful way. Roman gives Ken the card that Logan gave to him to give him for his birthday. But Roman says it's from Logan and Roman, which isn't true. As Ken tucks it away, Connor walks up, so now you've got all of the siblings there. He then escorts them into a somewhat art exhibit. He tells them that it's what he feels like society is headed, and it's giant news headlines like failed sibling dies in tragic jerk-off accident, and it's got Roman's face. And then you've got another one that says wife of Tom Wambsgans arrested, and Shiv's face is on that one. Connor Roy elected president of shitting in a bag. And that one sets Connor off. He doesn't find the humor in it at all. Shiv and Roman couldn't really care less about theirs, but Connor is absolutely livid. After all, he's running for president, and he's polling at 1%. That was the good news that he got. The fact that he's polling at 1%, which is 4 million people, but Connor feels like it could really sway the race, and it's only a matter of time before the party starts coming to him, looking to make a deal. So, in order to appease his brother, Ken has it taken down. Ken tells the trio that he has to go circulate, but he sneaks off into another room and opens up the birthday card. And it is a birthday card, but inside, Logan has written, cash out, fuck off. And he attached a term sheet to buy out all of Kendall's shares. He then goes and finds Naomi and shows her the card, claiming that Logan is trying to screw with his mind. Naomi inquires as to how much money that is, and Ken says it's $2 billion, but what it really is just Logan trying to screw with his mind. Naomi asks him, yeah, but what if you do take it? You know, because, like, $2 billion is $2 billion? And Ken says, maybe, and then goes in a ridiculous scenario of him buying all these newspapers just to embarrass Logan. As both Naomi and Ken walk back into the party, Comfrey, one of Ken's PR team, walks up and asks if he has any idea where Matsson is, because both Roman and Shiv were asking to meet with him. Now Ken knows the real reason why they showed up. He tells Comfrey to have Matsson meet him in a place called the Treehouse, so that he can keep Matsson away from his brother and sister. A little while later, Shiv ends up finding out where Matsson is, so they head up to the treehouse, but they're denied access. They're greeted at the door by Ken, who refuses them entry. He confronts them about the fact that they're at the treehouse to meet Matsson, and Shiv points out if we do talk to him, we either strike out and get nothing, or we succeed and your net worth goes up by a substantial amount of money. Even with that argument, Ken still refuses them access to the treehouse. He then thanks Roman for the card from him and his dad and walks back in, and Shiv had no idea what they were talking about. She asks Roman, what the hell was that? And Roman says, it's nothing. It was a little move to ease him out of the holding company. And Shiv gets upset over the fact that she wasn't in on this. She is the COO or CE, whatever her title is, president maybe, I don't know. But she's left in the dark. And if they're trying to buy her brother out of the company, she'd like to know. As those two argue outside, Ken headed back inside to the treehouse to meet with Matsson, who is having a terrible time. He tells him that his siblings are looking for him, but he tells him that a deal with Gojo doesn't really make sense. Waystar buying Gojo is like Amtrak buying Tesla. He actually tells Matsson that what he should do is buy Waystar, and Matsson completely sees right through it. He then gets word from Comfrey that Rava wants to say hi, so he goes to say hi to his ex-wife, who brought her new guy to the party. Gets a little awkward. Rava asks him, did you get the gift from the kids? And Ken has no idea what she's talking about. He never got any kind of gift. Rava tells him that the kids made him something, and it's wrapped in bunny wrapping paper. So Ken assures her, yeah, I'm sure somebody has it. I'll make sure to get it. Rava then mentions how the kids are being bullied by Waystar goons, asked how much Ken yells at them and whatnot. Ken had no idea about this, so he tells Rava he'll look into it. He walks out of talking with Rava and runs into Greg, and Greg wants to talk to him about something because he wanted to ask Comfrey out, but when he saw her, she mentioned how she might have to brief the press against him. Ken's talking about putting a smear campaign, and she wanted to assure him that she was going to try to word it so it's not terminal. Kind of killed any vibe that Greg had to ask her out. So Greg brings it up to him, saying how he was going to ask her out, but then she mentioned this press briefing, and he wants to know if it's really necessary because things are kind of slowing down with the whole investigation. But Ken tells him no, and she's out of your league, which is something that Greg keeps hearing. He then flat out tells Greg that Greg can't ask his employee out, and then he says some pretty mean things about Greg. He walks away to enjoy the rest of his party, but he's completely unaware that Roman has gained access to the treehouse. He finds Matsson and immediately starts pitching him on the deal. And Matsson admits that what's holding it up is the fact that he doesn't want to really work with Logan Roy. He doesn't want Logan over his shoulder the entire time. So Roman tells him that if he is willing to sell, then he won't have to deal with Logan. He can go through Roman. He can set up shop wherever he wants, and he can use Roman as a middleman to talk with Logan until Logan retires or dies. Matsson starts crapping all over the Waystar app, and it's something that Roman agrees with, so he says, you know what, let's go take a piss on it. He escorts Matsson into the bathroom, opens up the Waystar app, and throws it in the urinal. Thing is about the app, it takes forever to load, so he lets Matsson just piss all over his phone, / the app. As Matsson is pissing all over his phone, he says, so can I go back to my dad and tell him that you're maybe interested in selling to us? And Matsson says, well, if all this is true, then yeah. They then agree to meet on Monday. And Roman asks him, if I shake your hand now, can I go and tell my dad that I basically bought Gojo? Matsson laughs and says, no, but you can tell your dad I'm in the conversation. So as Roman was sealing the deal, Ken was about to do his big performance, although he realizes that it would be a really bad look. The very last second, he ends up canceling it. He then goes upstairs to where the presents are being held, and he frantically starts looking for the present from his children, but he can't find it. Naomi is trying to calm him down, but it's not really working. Finally, she's able to get his attention and gives him her gift. Although when he opens it, it's a watch. It's not a great gift because he already has a watch. After harping on the fact that it's a pretty crappy gift, he goes back to looking for the present, but he can't find it. And Ken is slowly breaking down a little bit. It's at this moment he's realizing that this whole party is absolutely pathetic. So Ken's not exactly having a great time. Somebody whose night has turned around is Greg. He runs into Comfrey and explains how he was planning on asking her out, but Ken kind of put the kibosh on that. And Comfrey isn't Ken's biggest fan. He has her doing a bunch of menial tasks, and at the last second, he ends up bailing on it. So she tells Greg, if you want to ask me out, do it. Greg does, and she agrees. Yeah, I'd love to go out. So Greg is on cloud 9. He's not going to jail, and he did just bag a date with a girl that is clearly out of his league. But over in the corner, Shiv has been stewing this entire time about the relationship between Roman and her dad. She's a little bit jealous. She ends up finding Roman and asking if there's an update on Matsson, and Roman does the typical Roman attitude of not answering, but also giving her shit at the same time, and Shiv's just over it. Roman starts gloating to her about how he was able to close the deal with Matsson, and she was just left out in the cold. And she's just going to have to get used to it because that's just the way things are. They both start trading insults back and forth, and that's when Ken walks by with Naomi because he's headed out, and Roman just has to take that opportunity to get a jab in at his brother. Ken walks back and tells both of them, you guys shouldn't be here. All you guys did was come here to stab me behind my back. And by the way, Gojo was my idea. Now, Roman turns his attention from bragging to Shiv to bragging to Ken about how he lost. Ken tries to tune Roman out and turns to Shiv and says, so you like spying on my daughter, your niece? And Shiv has no idea what he's talking about. And Roman says it's not a big deal. And Shiv is mortified. She can't believe that they're actually spying on family. But not just family, kids. Roman justifies it as, well, Ken's all up in Dad's business, so we'll be all up in his. But that's a line that Shiv isn't willing to cross. And it's another thing that Shiv was completely unaware of that Roman was privy to. Ken ends up leaving, Shiv ends up storming out, and when Roman finally leaves, he ends up calling Daddy and letting him know that he can get rid of the other kids because Romy took care of it. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought this sucked. Make sure to be nice in the comment section. If you don't see the next video up in the end screen there, I'll get it up in a few days, not to worry. And I have merchandise, so go buy a mug or something. It's never too early to think about Christmas gifts, folks. But once again, thank you for checking out this recap.